Hello and welcome to Canada Footy TV. It's the big one, the big window. Canada are poised to qualify for the World Cup in 2022, and we are here to give you all of the coverage that we possibly can in the days leading up to it. My name is Ryan May. I am joined by Owen Hall, Rayn Rashid, and Samir Murji for this Roundup square table of the biggest international window in Canada soccer history.
Is it the biggest, though?
Why are we starting off with negativity?
I'm just saying, or was last window the biggest window?
No, this is the one where they actually can mark their name into that 36 team World Cup list. They can do it now.
It's massive. I mean, it's definitely the biggest in history. The reason I say that is because this is the best team that we've had in history, and I don't think that's questionable. Not only that, the road that Canada has had in this World Cup qualifying has been outstanding, right? And that just put an asterisk beside it, right? It stands out for us because it's one of the best qualifying performances ever seen in the CONCACAF qualification.
It is so nice that Canada is the one with that actual distinction, because to be totally honest, it's been a real long time of us not being anywhere near the top of CONCACAF. I want to get your guys' sort of initial thoughts on how you're feeling going into this, how your levels of confidence are sitting. I'm looking at you, Owen. I'm going to start with you.
I'm staying calm. I'm staying composed. In the words of Kobe Bryant, the job ain't done yet. And honestly, I'm with Rayn. I feel like the last window was the biggest, getting that win over our rivals, the States, the Yankees. Honestly, that's a massive win, but I think the biggest game so far might be the qualifier, the dagger, but that remains to be seen so far. Like I said, I'm staying calm, I'm staying composed, and I think this is a chance for a couple other players to maybe come into the squad and have a nice little cameo. I'm sure we'll get into that later in this square table, but yeah, I'm excited, but cautiously excited is my word to describe how I'm feeling.
Next to you, Rayn. How are you feeling?
Yeah, thanks, Owen. I appreciate it. But honestly, hearing you two, Samir and Ryan, talk, honestly kind of gave me a little bit of goosebumps, because really, this is super important. I mean, Canada in the World Cup, fingers crossed.
Crazy words.
Canada undefeated in the CONCACAF, fingers crossed. I mean, that's record-breaking, once-in-a-lifetime, legendary SHIT. Am I right? Or am I right? So, I mean, Owen, if you want to ride with me, I'll ride with you on that one.
I'm riding with you, Rayn. I'm
saying
riding
that
with you,
last
Rayn.
window was the greatest. But this is amazing for history, period.
Okay. Samir Murji, you're the only one who has not given us your temperature on this. I know you were excited off the hop, but what are you feeling is actually going to happen here?
What's actually going to happen here is Canada's going to qualify. The country's going to be electric. All the major cities are going to be electric. Even the towns are going to be electric. The fans are going to be there. And not only that, but most likely, or not most likely, well, Canada has a huge chance to qualify on Thursday away. And then when they come back and they play at home, the BMO Field against Jamaica on that second game, that game is going to be hyped.
That could be one of the biggest parties Toronto has ever seen.
Yeah, so exactly. So to actually answer your question, I'm super hyped for this break. I'm so confident. I know that Canada will qualify here. We were talking about it last time we discussed them in the last break. We were talking about how they pretty much already qualified then, right? So we're here, right? This is the moment.
For me, I think it'd be really interesting. I want the clincher to be here in Toronto against Jamaica. And if Canada does end up having a poor result, I mean, fingers crossed we go this qualification window being undefeated. But I think if Canada get a poor result against Costa Rica, whether that be a disappointing draw or even a loss, for me, it would be really, really interesting to see how this team reacts if they're coming off of a poor result, because it's not something that we've seen before yet. And I think if we do come out of Costa Rica with a poor result, this will be very, very telling about the true colors of how this team really, really is. But I mean, I'd much rather go undefeated. I'm an Arsenal fan.
Your
unbeaten.
negativity, your Arsenal negativity is like beaten before
We're positive right
beaten
now.
before
We're
the first
positive right now.
whistle even goes is starting to show through. Just for those of you who don't know, quickly, Canada are playing Costa Rica in Costa Rica, and then the massive one at BMO Field in Toronto. We will be there. We will be there filming pre-match at the tailgate. We will be filming the players arriving. We will be getting all your fan reactions pre-game, post-game. We will be there for the big one at BMO Field, Canada versus Jamaica, and then one final game in the window, 4th place, Panama. Now, you mentioned Costa Rica off the top. You mentioned Costa Rica just there, Owen. That team does not like Canada, and they really want to win, and they really need a win. So I'm actually with you. I think I foresee a sort of possibly disappointing result, and it would make it all the more sweeter if we brought it back to Toronto for the win.
Well, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Costa Rica is a team that's been there and done that, and one of my other national teams, the Netherlands, I remember playing them in the 2014 World Cup. We went to a shootout. They almost beat us. Have some great players. I mean, their guy, Brian Ruiz, is a little bit past his prime. But you have someone like Keylor Navas, who's a Champions League winning Champions League level keeper, who will certainly come out to play. And again, I think that'll be a really interesting gauge, a temperature gauge, if I may, to see what'll happen. And, if we don't get a result, the party in Toronto should be that much bigger.
I mean, another thing that you bring up about Costa Rica is that unit has been together for a while, right? The Costa Rican team, and they know what they're up against. They know that Canada wants to qualify.
The
with
new boys
this
on the
game.
block. They don't like the new boys on the block.
Exactly, and they're gonna put everything in it to win in front of their fans at home, or even get the result in front of their fans at home. Again, they still have a small chance to qualify for the World Cup. So having this game to stop the leaders in the group is going to be massive, and they're all veteran players. They all know what it needs to be done. It's just a matter of putting it into practice. But one thing I do want to mention is that a Costa Rican player, sorry, give me 1 second here. It was Francisco Calvo. He actually had an interview about the game coming up, and what he mentioned was this is a translation from Spanish, of course, so it may not be exactly true translation, but basically what he said was that once the Canadian players step into the field and they hear the people chant in Costa Rica, the fans chant, that the Canadian players' legs are going to physically shake, and that Costa Ricans are going to be able to shut them down.
Yeah,
basically saying that these young kids, the new kids on the block, are not going to be able to handle the pressure that's coming in Costa Rica. And I mean, he does make a good point.
Man, they were in the World Cup quarterfinals in 2014, and it's basically the same group of players for the most part.
A penalty shootout away from the semis.
Yeah.
And I mean, they do have some weapons. I mentioned Brian Ruiz and Keylor Navas as well, but being an Arsenal fan, I remember when Joel Campbell played for us, and he's definitely a great outlet for them as well. And one thing is that, like, he's not in Europe anymore. He's immersed in this CONCACAF culture now. He plays for Monterrey in Liga MX, and knows the atmospheres of playing in the CONCACAF Champions League, and probably has a pretty good idea of some of these guys. I'm sure he's played against some MLS teams in the CONCACAF Champions League, and so, Costa Rica are not to be taken lightly by any means.
Definitely not. And on top of that, on top of everything, like, they do have one of the better defensive records in the CONCACAF qualifying so far. They've only let in 7 goals.
Canada have only let in 5, reference.
Canada have only let in 5, yes. But behind Canada, who's let in the least amount of goals, Costa Rica and America tied at 7. So it's going to be a tight defensive game, especially being at a home scary atmosphere for these Canadians, right? And I know I was optimistic to start, but like
I was really happy with
my
that.
influence is growing.
It is. Your influence is growing onto me, but I'm not expecting a high-scoring game, but a 1-0 win is something that I'd predict from this.
Costa Rica have 8 goals in this entire.
Costa Rica's not scoring.
It's not going to be a high-scoring game.
Talking about the atmosphere, though, I mean, we've already gone to Azteca. Like, for me, it's a bit of a been there, done that. And yeah, there's certainly a lot of scary atmospheres in CONCACAF and as there are in a lot of continents around the world. But I think this is a team that's so mentally strong, and a lot of that has to do with John Herdman. I mean, we knew John Herdman as a man manager for the women's national team, and we knew he would do a bang-up job for this team, and they don't look scared going into any environment in CONCACAF, honestly. And he's an underrated tactician as well, which is sure something we'll get to.
Okay, so we jumped into Jamaica a little early. We got a little bit excited. How can you blame us? The game is like 36 hours away, and Canada could be in the World Cup at the end of it. Our negativity about the potential atmosphere aside, I want to jump into some of the players that have been selected to John Herdman's squad for this international window. Now, we have a couple new additions, a couple people who weren't in the previous squad who are in. One big notable one, which we'll get to a little later, Ismaël Koné. He is a potential lethal weapon for the Reds in the World Cup.
Star.
He's a potential stud. So
Yes.
I'm just going to do some housekeeping. We're going to start Alphonso Davies, not in the side, returned to training recently with Bayern. Hopefully he recovers from his myocarditis soon.
I do want to say that's amazing to see back in
Really
training,
good.
running around. I mean,
Hopefully we get some live streams.
yeah, of course it's sad that he didn't get chosen to come and he wasn't allowed to come. I'm pretty sure Bayern had to do with that. But it makes more sense for his health, right? And long term, we want this guy to be healthy. Screw soccer. We want him to.
And it's
to have
honestly
a
good for
healthy-
the Canadian team. Like, obviously not that he's not there, but just how good this Canadian team is without Alphonso Davies.
Exactly, great point, and it gives chances to other people. But I did just want to shout that out. Like, it's good to see him back in training, and hopefully we can see him at the World Cup.
And also
Yeah,
for
hopefully.
his situation as well, I think there probably isn't a better club than Bayern Munich when it comes to getting players fit, getting players healthy, getting players back on track where they need to be. We've seen the growth of so many of these guys who've gone to Bayern Munich, Leon Goretzka,
Goretzka,
Serge Gnabry, who just look like they've taken PDs. Not that I'm accusing them of anything.
I just don't
but,
want to buy him back now. Is how good he's been.
They actually do look like they're on steroids.
Yeah,
So yes.
yeah, and I mean, I'm sure they have a great health team as well. They're not a team who tends to rush players back, mostly because of their ridiculous depth.
Yeah, I was
but,
going to say they don't need to ever
no, they don't.
rush
They don't.
anybody
And
back.
it's crazy. They have depth. They have a small squad, but anyways, yeah, it's a great sign to see. He's coming back, and myocarditis is not something you want to rush. That's probably influenced by his bet with COVID, and that's not something you can take lightly for sure.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, that's an inflammation of the heart muscle. So obviously something to be very, very concerned about. Important that his sort of medical transition back into the game is managed very, very carefully. Now, Rayn, you brought up players who were making a difference with Davies sort of sidelined. Jonathan David. This guy is the key to this
Here's
Liverpool
Johnny.
attack. Liverpool attack. Did you guys
Wrong
hear
Reds.
that?
Wrong Reds.
Guys, I am so convinced
Need
that
to
this
delete that right away.
I am so convinced that this guy is going to be a Liverpool player.
I've been talking about it all day, so I'll let it slide.
I'm already counting him there. Jurgen Klopp is going to have beautiful times with Jonathan David. All right, I'm going to get back into Canada now. So, his current team that he's playing for.
How many haters do you think Ryan is going to have after this episode?
Brutal.
Honestly.
Okay, so his current
Back to
team,
Canada.
not Liverpool, Lille, he started and played 74 minutes for Lille this weekend. He hasn't necessarily been in the best goal-scoring form. They're sixth in the table, but he did score 3 goals in the group stage of the Champions League. They were just recently eliminated against Chelsea. He went 7 matches without a goal for Lille this season, but 16 goals in 27 games played.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there. He's still scoring goals. I mean, maybe his form hasn't been the greatest, but that also has to do with the players around him, right? Like, Lille has been underperforming as a team, and I would hate to point the blame on someone like David. He's such a raw talent, and he's still scoring goals, right? At the end of the day, he has, you said, 16 goals in all competitions. He had scored 3 in the Champions League group stages at the top level of the game. And he's definitely still on the radar of top clubs around Europe.
Yeah, even if Jonathan David isn't scoring, he's still someone who can make an impact on numerous areas of the pitch. He presses really well. He's in the top, I think, like 96 or 97th percentile in terms of pressing for forwards in Europe. He has great link-up play, and that's something we've seen for both Canada and Lille. He has a great partnership with Burak Yilmaz at Lille as well. Yeah, and Yilmaz was one of the best players in Liga, and they won the title, which is something I still don't think people talk enough about. Lille winning a title over PSG.
Basically one of the most dominant looking PSG sides
really
on
stacked.
paper we've ever seen.
And not only that, where the French league, I mean, it's undeniable, is the league out of the top 5 leagues that has the one team that should be separated from the pack, at least on paper.
Just to clear things up, is this the PSG with Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe?
Correct.
Correct,
This
but
was
they
the
didn't have
super
Messi.
team.
They didn't have Messi when they
It was
lost.
the PSG with just
It was
Neymar
last
and
year they won.
Mbappe, but
Yes, correct.
yes.
Like
is
when
the
all
point.
the
3 of those
stars.
were on PSG at the same time, I was like, how is this even possible?
And Jonathan David played a massive part in that.
Well,
That
Jonathan
was-
David was outscoring them all to start
Yeah,
off the season.
Absolutely,
Like,
he was.
no,
Look, I was
let
just
me- let
actually
me remind
looking.
you.
You're right.
Yeah.
He's still fifth. He's like had a 7-game goal scoring drought in the middle of the season and is still fifth. Only 4 goals behind the leader, Wissam Ben Yedder. He is
FIFA
literally
God.
literally
FIFA God,
2
Wissam
goals
Ben
behind
Yedder.
Kylian Mbappe.
First card I get
In
in
how many?
Ultimate Team.
How many goals?
He is 2 goals behind Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah.
And
It's all
this
about
is a player
perspective,
who's,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? When you say 7 games without a goal, and you're like, that's terrible. But then you say 16 goals
He's
in
still there.
27
Still
games, and
there.
it's like, oh, that's actually pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I think he can replicate his partnership with Burak Yilmaz, and I think Cyle Larin is a pretty similar profile to Burak Yilmaz as well. And I know Herdman has, he's filled in them both in certain games, but I feel like there's certain games that fit Larin, there's certain games that fit David, and credit to John Herdman for realizing that. But I think there is a partnership there that could be brewing, especially if Alphonso Davies isn't playing, and I think a lot of that playmaking and that creative weight can go on Jonathan David's shoulders if he has Cyle Larin appearing in the box. Cyle Larin, a little bit of a tap-in merchant for Canada. But, man, you score goals. And I think at one point he had the most goals in World Cup qualifying in any continent at one point.
Kyle Larin, right?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
He is our leading goal scorer.
He did.
Yeah,
and you make the perfect case in point. Sorry to interrupt you
Yeah,
there, Owen,
no.
but that the game against America, against USA on January 30th, we saw the partnership up top that you're talking about, and we saw glimpses of what they could do. And we saw exactly the type of hold-up play from Larin that's needed to help complement David's consistent running everywhere, right? Like he's honestly all over the pitch, and they could form a beautiful partnership, as you said, mirroring the one that he has at Lille with Yilmaz.
Okay, next player I want to run through, Tajon Buchanan. Believe it or not, he's been playing at left wing back for Club Bruges in Belgium. 8 appearances, 7 starts in 15 matches since joining in January. That's like pretty good return for a very young player coming into a European league.
I don't mind that. I mean, obviously, I do think his future is at a wing spot up front. But as an Arsenal fan, I want to compare it to Bukayo Saka a little bit, because Bukayo Saka did play a lot of left wing back for Arsenal when he first came into the league. And now he's one of the better right wingers in the league. And so that's a transition a lot of players have made at this point. And I think him playing wing back gives him the defensive fundamentals to be one of those wingers who can track back,
Exactly.
who can cover bodies in the box. And I think that's a great example of what he can turn into at this point.
Yeah, and that's like seeing him develop in a different position that will inevitably benefit him down the line with Canada at Club Bruges is so encouraging.
And also the fact he's getting consistent 90 minutes, which is the most important thing for a player's development by far.
And I think one thing,
Don't worry.
that you have to recognize that happens off the pitch is, yes, Owen, when he's playing offense or defense, like he's improving his defensive skill set, even though he's going to be a winger. But it also shows about his character that stars are willing to play different positions to help their team and also help themselves. So
sure.
it's also showing coachability.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to point out is, it adds to your point about coachability, is he is just 23 years old, right? And yeah, he's a winger, but he's trying to break into the top leagues and the top teams in the world. And maybe to do that, he might have to reinvent his position a little bit, as we've seen multiple wingers do as they've grown older and into the game. Ashley Young, for example. Maybe we could see him develop into that fullback role permanently and be a constant fullback threat for us going forward, right?
I want to see him eat going up front, man.
Of
I'm
course,
not going to lie.
he's
I'm not gonna
amazing
lie.
with his feet, and I love seeing him move forward. But we need that on the wings as well, especially when we play against top teams. We need someone who's willing to be able to do that. And I honestly, I think it's great for his development, whether he ends up staying on as a wing back for the rest of his career, or he just uses the skill set, as you said, to become a better winger forward. I think it's great that he's playing and he's getting minutes at Bruges. That's the biggest thing, getting minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next player I want to just very briefly discuss because there isn't too much going on for him. Liam Fraser, currently playing defensive midfield, fourth place in the second tier of Belgium, and this one is a concern for me. I'm ultra concerned about Liam Fraser's potential form when he comes to Canada playing in the second tier of German football.
Belgian.
Belgium football.
Honestly, I'm
Which
not.
is worse than German football. Let's
Slightly.
be honest.
Yeah, slightly. Honestly, I'm not. He's someone who continues to show out for Canada. Has had some great performances. I think he only has like 13 caps, has 2 assists. He's great in that number 6 role. I'd rather him play the 6 than the 8 for sure. But I think for TFC, I think they fumbled the bag when it comes to Liam Fraser just a little bit.
Strongly agree.
Yeah. Has height. Can play the ball. We saw that with that Jonathan David assist, probably the best assist I've seen in terms of Canadian football in this qualifying window. It's great to have a big body in midfield, and he's someone that I think John Herdman can rely on coming off the bench as well to sort of shore up games.
I can't lie. I don't even think he's a lock for the World Cup squad. I think that we
Really?
yeah, genuinely.
I think
I'm
so.
concerned. I'm really concerned about bringing
I
a
like
player.
Liam Fraser.
I like Liam Fraser a lot as well, and he impresses when he plays for Canada. But when you look
That's
at
all
the
that matters, though. That's all
Yeah,
that matters.
really.
It's
You're
not all
playing
that
for a
matters because
Canadian
when you
team.
look at the level of players that Canada has in the European leagues, for Liam Fraser to be playing a tier below that against a tier below opposition, and again, that's even not in one of the top 5 leagues in Europe, I am very concerned he will get exposed.
I somewhat disagree because, I mean, there are, for almost any international team, you do have mainstays for their national team, even despite their domestic form. And I think he could be one of those cases, and nobody's arguing that I think he should be, in our best 11. I mean, Stefan Eustaquio and Jonathan Osorio and Ismaël Koné might have something to say about that in the recent future. But I think he's still someone that certainly should be in the 23-man squad. And I think from what I've seen, in terms of chemistry, he's a great member of that squad, gets along well with the rest of his teammates, has a pass in the national team. And
Hey, we talked to his family outside the
did,
last game.
you did.
I'm all about Liam Fraser. I want Liam Fraser there.
I'm gonna I kept quiet doing this. I just wanted to soak it all in before I made my point. I definitely wanted to look at it from a glass full perspective and disagree with you there, Ryan. I do agree with Owen. I think him getting these minutes there and playing in a level that is above that level he would be playing in America is good for his game. I do think regardless, he's learning out there. He's learning how to play in a professional league in Europe, which is completely different than playing in a professional league over here. And I mean, he had his time here in the MLS. No one was really giving him that shot. So now he's getting the shot elsewhere where he can develop into a better player. I think it's better for his game. Yeah, you mentioned he's playing against people who are at a lower level than his counterparts, but who's to say he's not going to move elsewhere in the near future, right?
I mean, you only have to look at Jonathan David. I mean, Jonathan David did not play in the second tier of Belgian football. He went straight to the first. But Jonathan David had so many opportunities to play for MLS clubs, and he consistently denied them. He said, I know it's better for my game. I know what I want to be. I know what I want to do. And he knew he wanted to play in Europe. And I think for Liam Fraser, this is kind of a second chance to go out there and have a fresh start. And like we said, consistent 90 minutes is the most important thing. And if you're not getting that from TFC, then going to Belgium is the right move, even if it is the second division.
And he is technically, he's a member of Columbus Crew, actually, and he's on loan to the Belgian division. So, technically, if things don't work out over there, he does have the option, or he probably does have the option to come back.
And when you're talking about the second tier of Belgian football and how TFC fumbled the bag, I would argue that I'd rather have him play in the second tier of Belgian football than in MLS. And the thing about European football, Samir, is I think you said it, is when you're a European football player, you train like a European football player.
Yep.
It is different there. You bike to the training facility. You train before practice. You eat there. You practice. You watch film. You train afterwards by yourself. You eat. You bike to your loft, which is 25 meters from your training facility.
Yeah.
It's all about football there. All these Americans, North Americans, Canadians that go to Europe to play football, they're not there to see the sights.
Yeah.
They're there to play football.
And over here in the MLS, it's a bit of Americanized in a way. Not every team and every player is lazy and blah blah blah, but like it's a bit of a celebrity / star. I'm in a sports league atmosphere.
And there is a difference
versus-
of training. That's the thing.
Yes.
I think that's a major thing when
Also,
you're in Europe.
like in the MLS, you have a lot of older people coming in near the end of their career, and yeah, they have the leadership influence on you, but the intensity in training will be a lot different versus a bunch of young guys who are hungry, ready to break into the first division in Belgium, in the Belgian league, right?
So I'm just going to go through a few other players, just some notes here. Ike Ugbo, he's not playing more than 65 minutes most games. He scored a winner recently in the middle of the week. Not too much going on around him. He may get a couple minutes in this window. Eustaquio, just one start for Porto since moving in January, but he has been in the squad 10 of 11 times. Started twice, came off the bench 4 times. Sam Adekugbe, his team, Hatayspor, sits 7th in the table. He's playing 90 minutes nearly every week. That is perfect. Not a whole lot to talk about there. Hasn't been scoring, but has also been playing. Milan Borjan, he started all 10 games for Red Star Belgrade in the Serbian Superliga this year.
My uncle Milan.
Uncle Milan and his pants, they will be there.
Love that.
Speaking of the Turkish league, Cyle Larin, 24 starts this season, 6 goals. He's in great form for Canada, mediocre form for Besiktas, not a big concern. Liam Miller, he scored recently for FC Basel. He's getting tons of minutes. 90 minutes in 6 of the last 7 games. Crazy.
I'm sorry. I have a friend named Basil, and if I don't shout him out after you said that, I think he would get mad. So shout out to my buddy Basil. Do you want to shout your buddy out too, Samir?
You know what?
Shout out to my buddy Basil as well.
I actually do have a buddy I want to shout out, but not Basil. My buddy Michko, Red Star Belgrade supporter. They got to come back and win the league. Milan Borjan supporter. Just want to shout out my guy there.
Look at that. We all love our friends.
Before we move on from our the players or from Miller, you had mentioned Larin for the Turkish league, and Besiktas.
The questionable Turkish league.
The questionable Turkish league. Okay.
Why is it questionable?
The questionable the validity of the results in the Turkish league.
Oh, okay,
Ryan's just upset about a bet that he
I
placed
lost
the
a
other
bet
week.
earlier this week, and Samir put match fixing in my brain, and I'm just
the
sussed
league
out.
that I avoid. There has been proof of match fixing before. I am not betting on that league again. But anyways, the point of the whole conversation is he's still getting minutes for Besiktas despite them playing him out of position. And I did go and research their past few games that he's been playing. And they line him up on the left wing-ish, on the left side of the field, while they have Batshuayi center striker. It just makes zero sense.
Really?
I saw your face when that happens. I
didn't even know that was a duo. That's so weird.
It's terrible.
Not a good duo.
Don't call me an expert on Turkish football. Maybe it works over there, right? Maybe like the physicality of the game. Maybe it's different. I don't know. But on paper, that makes zero sense to me. And I can see why he's not scoring as many goals. But it just goes to show how talented he is, that he's good enough that the manager has to put him in the team.
And just to sort of wrap up our player form segment here, a concern. Atiba Hutchinson has only played 90 minutes 4 times in 2022 for Besiktas. That is a 39-year-old not getting consistent minutes in a league that is outside of Europe's top 5 and potentially still being considered as a guaranteed starter for Canada by some. I'm no longer in that boat. Any of you guys in that boat with me?
Nope. Pump the brakes.
I'm in that boat.
Fair. I'll let you say your point. Fair. But you had mentioned it just a second ago. He is a 39-year-old man.
He's 39.
He's 39. Are you trying to prove your point or ours?
He's 39,
My point
man.
right there. Well, like, are you gonna overwork this player when his team Besiktas knows what the situation he's in with Canada? You know what I mean? Like Besiktas themselves are not doing great. They're in 8th place in the Turkish league. Clearly, they're trying to change some things, right? They're trying to figure things out, see what's working. And having a 39-year-old holding midfielder starting all your games is not going to help you for the future either. So pump the brakes, Ryan. In my opinion, I think it's a good thing that he's getting the rest, but he's also getting minutes in key games when he needs to. And then on the other side of things, when he comes to Canada, he's he does get the minutes. He plays amazing, and he has the energy. So I'm going to take the other side of that, Ryan. I'm definitely not on the boat with you. And I just want to point out that he's 8 caps away from reaching 100 international caps in his career, and that could possibly happen.
That's what I'm saying.
Qatar.
Save some minutes for the national team. Let Atiba go to the World Cup. He may not have a massive role, but he's a part of that older generation.
Why?
With-
I'm sorry, but like, why? He's 39 years old.
He's a
for
legend.
Someone who,
He's
like,
a legend. He was, like I've said this in a previous square tip. He was there in the trenches.
He was.
Where we were getting beat by Trinidad and Tobago and all these teams who we shouldn't lose to.
So
And-
is this like a sympathy spot for this
No,
guy? or
no,
what?
it's something
No,
he's
he
not-
still plays amazing, and he's a huge leader on
Okay,
the field.
but I just want to know, like, Ryan, I gotta know, like, you're talking about like Liam Fraser in the second league of Belgium, and you have concerns for him. This guy plays in Turkey, and he's 39 years old, and you think he should go to Qatar? I'm like,
I
hello.
think he has. Okay.
He deserves to. He deserves to. He was there when we weren't good. He was there with Scott Arfield. And Scott Arfield, I think, could easily still contribute for this team, but he chose to, let some of the younger guys come in. Atiba deserves his flowers, man. Let him go to Qatar. Let him have his fun. And, even if he isn't going to play, I think he's someone who has to be in that squad for morale purposes. And he is the real captain of this team.
But that's where I'm actually. You've hit the nail on the head. That's where I'm coming from. He's had four 90-minute performances in
I know, but
2022.
why risk the fitness? Why risk
I'm
the
not.
fitness?
Hold on. Irrelevant of that fact, of his fitness, like that's the point. Obviously, that they're sort of working on here is to keep Atiba fit for the World Cup. My point that I'm saying is this is not a player who should start every game for Canada.
Oh,
at
I agree.
The World
I
Cup.
agree.
Because, and here's my segue that I'm going to use. Get ready for this, guys.
I'm ready.
We have a guy named Ismaël Koné. Ismaël Koné is absolutely dominating right now.
It's a little too soon to say start at the
Okay,
World Cup,
hold on,
but
hold
yes,
on.
I
Can
love the shout
can you let me get there
Yeah, I'm
here?
sorry,
I'm
Ryan, I'll
not
let
saying
you talk.
Ismaël Koné needs to start. Koné needs to start every game at the World Cup, but do you not feel more comfortable with him starting in a double pivot than Atiba Hutchinson at this point?
I'd say I am, for sure. I mean, there's more, he probably has a little bit more technical quality right now. He's that box-to-box 8, and I think you mentioned before, he used to be a striker, and he has that finishing ability to make those late runs, getting into the box. And he's also pretty defensively responsible, too. I mean, that's not necessarily a role I'd play him in, but having him in a double pivot with Eustaquio would be an absolute dream. Have Eustaquio as that ball progressor, the one that'll break lines, and have Ismaël Koné there, the one who'll make those late runs. And we've seen he scored a really, really nice goal in the CONCACAF Champions League. Was Team of the Week for CF Montreal. Not a team that I like very much, but I'll give my flowers when certain individuals deserve it. And he has a teammate, Samuel Piet, who's on that team as well, who you can learn from, both in terms of MLS and international duty. And, he's someone that I feel like can rise really, really fast. We're seeing so many of these young midfielders across the world, guys like Pedri and a bunch of these other talents really, come into their own for their national teams. And I feel like the general prime or, the age where players can get to that elite level is becoming younger and younger. And for me, Ismaël Koné is a prime example of that for Canada.
You're right. He's 19, and he is getting scouted every single Montreal game by scouts in all of Europe's top 5 leagues.
He's clearly a top player, a talent at least. He has all the tools, physically and also on the field, like the way he plays, to be a star in this game. Like there's a reason top teams are looking at him. But to answer your question about the double pivot, Ryan, I think it depends on what you're looking for. Right, and when we're playing against teams such as Spain or France, who's really, really going to try to keep the ball as much as possible, who's really, really going to like play a possession style game, and you're not going to see much of the ball, maybe having Atiba Hutchinson in that double pivot and having 2 defensive studs would be better, but also implementing a midfielder who can move the ball forward in Koné. So
you kind
I feel
of
like
answered my next question.
I feel
to be
like it
honest.
depends. Yeah, so I feel like it depends on what you're looking for, who we're matching up against, versus against Costa Rica. I mean, by all means, you can let him try to create whatever he can. He's in 4 games for the MLS. He has 1 goal, 2 assists. He's clearly a player that likes to move forward. Clearly a player who likes the creativity and possesses the creativity to move forward. So having a proper central defensive midfielder behind him might be the play.
I think that it is very, very important that Canada develop this player now, because he can be key to this World Cup campaign, period. Atiba Hutchinson is going to be there, but Atiba Hutchinson is the B option. I am no longer willing to put him in my first 11.
I mean, I said this in the last roundtable, and I kind of got cooked for it. So, no, but I think Jonathan Osorio and Stefan Eustaquio are the pairing right now that are probably first team A, whatever you want to call it. But Ismaël Koné, I think, possesses the qualities to probably jump ahead of Jonathan Osorio. I mean, we've seen Jonathan Osorio score big goals. The one against Mexico comes to mind, of course.
Osorio deserves to start this break.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
I'm
for
just
sure.
going to say that.
For
Just
sure.
based off the way he's been playing.
For
But
sure.
continue, Owen.
But yeah, I mean, my main point is that it's Stefan Eustaquio and somebody else. Stefan Eustaquio plays every game, one of the first names on the team sheet, no doubt. And for me, the first name on the team sheet.
I've been wanting to contribute to this conversation, and honestly, I've been just thinking about one thing: the fact that Ismaël Koné is 20 years younger than Atiba Hutchinson.
You're still on this.
20 years younger, and I'm not coming here from a fan like, oh, I grew up with Atiba Hutchinson or any sort of thing like that where there's emotion tied to this. But when you're talking about an athlete that has a 20-year age gap, who's not Tom Brady, let's make that clear. Atiba Hutchinson cannot be compared to Tom Brady in any sport.
Should never be compared
I'm
to
just
Tom
saying.
Brady ever.
I don't think that comparison has ever been made or will
That-
ever be
that
made
right
again.
there
You
is
just put it
lucky
into-
enough
you
that
just
you
put
were
it
even
into
in the same
existence for the
sentence
first time.
for a couple times. But that being said, as a manager who strictly looks at talent, and whether you're talking about a center midfielder who can press the ball or not, it's Ismaël Koné. I mean, he's the guy. And I don't know much about him as a player, but you guys are hyping him up, telling me that he's got all the tools that he needs. He's been amazing for Montreal in the MLS.
It's been 4 games in the MLS, though. That's the only
He's also
thing.
played in the CONCACAF Champions League too, and put out a really, really good
Yeah, man,
performance.
he had
Great
to play at the
performance.
Azteca.
He's been playing amazing. Don't get me wrong, but like, it is just a drop in the pool. It's very
Well,
early
we'll see.
on.
And that's where
But
we
you-
fundamentally disagree. I don't think it is. I
But
think this is the start of an actual run. As exactly Owen says, the rise is quick nowadays.
I know,
I think
but-
this is the beginning.
Well, what I'm saying is it could be a drop. We do need this is the first step. Him getting called up to the Canadian national team is the next step in that run that you're talking about, right? And I believe in him. Don't get me wrong. I can totally see this player develop into that star. But that's what's so exciting about this next week or so, right? We get to see him just being thrown into it.
This is
see how
also
he does.
a really, really good problem to have.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about Jonathan Osorio, we're talking about Stefan Eustaquio, we've talked about Liam Fraser, and now we're talking about Atiba Hutchinson and Ismaël Koné. And I mean, Canada's midfield has never been talked about in this way before.
ever.
And this also might be Canada's deepest position.
Not
It is
might
real
be, it
interesting
is.
because
Yeah.
it's not their most quality filled position.
Yeah, I agree.
But it is most definitely
They're
their
deep.
deepest
Yeah, for
position.
sure.
And to be honest, as a team that is going to be set up like Canada is, they aren't going to be a favorite in any game they play in the World Cup. You kind of want that. You want your midfield and your defense to be your strongest units.
Mind you, they may be a favorite in the World Cup when it comes to things.
Oh
I mean,
my God, that is a crazy
isn't that crazy?
sentence, Samir.
I know. That's why I have to say it. I'm looking at this graphic right now, and
Ooh, if
as
there's
of
a graphic about it, it must be true.
as of March 22nd, we are very, very, very close to being into pot 3.
Yeah, that's my next question, actually. Overall expectations for the window, are they getting into pot 3?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I know. I'm
I'm with you. I honestly
I know I'm
trying...
the typical pessimistic Canadian fan.
You've been real good today. Don't put yourself down.
He's been good for a while, honestly,
Yeah.
and I think maybe has to doing with
The
some
myth-
of your betting
Mr.
wins.
Negative Nancy over here is the gooner, not you.
Yeah. Okay, but exactly. I'm fully behind this team. I believe in them. They can get the results. They're gunning for that pot 3. They're gunning for it. There's no question that's on all of their minds, right? They want to have a better time and a better performance in the World Cup. They want to represent Canada. They want to play against a lesser team in the group stage, have a chance to get to the knockout stages. Imagine Canada's men's national team plays in the knockout stages of the World Cup. That game, I don't care if we lose 8-0, that game is going to be the best Canada soccer game.
It makes me giddy.
Of
I don't
my
know
life.
what other word to describe
Exactly.
it as.
I have
but, like,
actual chills running down my body just from thinking about these things.
I know I've been branded as a negative Nancy on this podcast, but I think all we have to do is look back to the 2014 World Cup where we saw two CONCACAF teams who did not have as good of a window as Canada did when it came to qualifying.
and also did not have as good as sides.
No. We'll look at the United States, who nearly beat Belgium. I know it took like a masterclass from Tim Howard to keep them in that game, but United States nearly coming out with a result against Belgium. And like we said before, Costa Rica going to the penalties against Netherlands. These are two European superpowers who were taken to the brink of elimination by two CONCACAF teams who arguably were not as good as this Canadian team when it came to their record in the qualifying window. And you might even, you might have an argument when it came to quality, but Canada's right there with those teams. U.S. might have been a little bit deeper, a little bit more experienced, but man, these are comparable.
And mind you, the teams in the CONCACAF this season, it's not like they're all bums. Like this USA and Mexican team are actually quite good. And considering that Canada has played this well in the qualifying stages, I have full confidence that if Canada can get pot 3, then they're going to make noise. They're going to make noise. And another plus side is what kind of helps us get into pot 3 is Russia is quite possibly, most likely, not playing at this World Cup.
That is a really good point. I had not even considered that once.
And that opens up the spot, right? That Russia would be a pot 2 team.
Yeah, there would be.
Yep. And that opens up a spot.
Wait, so is Russia not playing in the World Cup?
Okay, nothing has been officially announced yet, but there are like pretty hard sanctions on Russia across all of sports. They've already been removed from various other different international sporting events. I would not be shocked in any way to see them removed.
Well, as of now, they're not allowed to play their qualifying games. And then if like time passes and the qualifying goes, like they can't just show up at the World Cup, right? They didn't qualify. so
if that was
it's
how it
most
worked,
likely-
Canada would have been there before. Other than 1986.
so it's most likely that they're not going to be at the World Cup. I mean, it's 99% sure, right? Because the window's now.
So you think 3 wins out of 3? That's like realistically, if they're going to get into pot 3, they probably need to take all 3 wins.
They need 3 wins, or they need I think it's Egypt winning. Yeah.
And that's Egypt and Senegal.
Yeah.
Those guys playing again.
Yep. It's
Saturday,
Egypt.
my Liverpool boys just absolutely creating this awful international rivalry.
So 3 wins would, I think, get us in for sure. I think 2 wins and a draw / loss result in us relying on the Egypt Senegal game.
I like to have my, hands in my own future in my own hands.
Yeah. No, 100%. The future, like it's all in Canada's hands, exactly as you said.
If my hands aren't in my future, I'm going to be really sad.
That being said, Costa Rica, Jamaica, Panama, Canada wins all 3.
Owen.
I don't know if I want
That
to
was a
follow
long
that.
pause.
Yeah, it was.
I knew he wasn't going to agree with me.
I think Canada will probably come away with Costa Rica with a draw. Whether it be, I might have it marked down as a 1-1. I'd say
Costa Rica's not scoring.
No, I
Costa
don't
Rica's
think
scoring.
What? Okay,
just
hold
saying,
on.
Costa Rica's
So.
scoring.
Whoa.
We can get to this when we do score predictions, but I'm just saying.
We'll get to it in a second. Sorry, Owen.
I think Costa Rica is a pretty hard game to start off the window, especially away, but I see Canada growing as this window goes on. Jamaica and Panama, both 3 points from those games. Pot 3, here we come.
I am so excited. I'm with you guys. I think it's 3 out of 3. Although I would like to see them qualify, do the actual business at home. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think when we chat again, just over 36 hours from now, 48 hours actually rather, Canada will be a World Cup team. That will be an actual reality of life that we will get to live for the next 6-7 months.
Insane. And to add to your point, Owen, like they're gonna win that Jamaica game, right? That's the game at home in the window where you qualify.
That game's gonna be so fun.
Oh, it's gonna be
The
so
city is gonna be
so
electric.
electric.
Yeah.
The
the fact that
tailgate
it's in
before.
Toronto, right? You know, that's so amazing for the city and all the people in Toronto. Toronto has the #1 Jamaican population in all of Canada.
It does. It
I
does.
mean,
it's gonna be like the
gonna be an exciting
atmosphere
game.
is just going to be so. This is.
I hope they give out patties at the game. How great would that be? I mean, that's a prime time.
That is a Toronto.
sporting
That is
event.
a
Yeah.
Toronto
Snack.
sporting event. That is beautiful. I 100%. We should write to them.
They
Big-
We should
should
get patties on the menu at BMO Field.
Big shout out
Oh,
to
man.
Warden Station, best Jamaican patties in the game.
Warden
Always
Station
has
patties
been and
at
always will
BMO
be.
Field, maybe.
No, don't give your patty favorites out on the air. You're gonna get haters out here.
No, like they're known for being the best patties.
They are.
Yeah.
All right,
Warden
so I
Station?
have
Yes, sir.
overall expectations for the window listed on my lineup card here. We just did that. So overall expectations are it's going to be fucking sick. So we're going to move on to our next thing. The next thing that we're going to talk about, we're going to do score predictions for first game, Costa Rica, second game, Jamaica, third game, Panama. Then we're going to do a projected lineup for Costa Rica. Ready. Go. Okay, sorry. I
What?
should have directed.
I
I should have.
got it.
Hold on. I should have directed.
So aggressive.
I should have directed something a little bit there. I will start. Costa Rica are not going to score. Canada are also not going to score. That's going to be 0-0. Samir, your score prediction for Costa Rica.
1-0 Canada. Cyle Larin continues his amazing run in the CONCACAF qualifying, and 1-0 Canada. They walk away with the win.
Owen.
I think I have it as a 1-1. I think Costa Rica do have some weapons, like we talked about, Joel Campbell, and they do have Keylor Navas and net. Cannot forget about that. But I think, I think it's time I stop downplaying Canada just a little bit, give them some credit.
With a draw.
Yeah, with a draw.
with a draw.
That's a good draw. That's
a
a
good draw
It
with
is. I'll give you that.
with Costa Rica, who have scored 8 goals in 11 games.
That's still a good point, though. To me.
It's a good
going
point.
away.
Getting a point in Costa Rica is a good point.
Yeah, I think so.
But don't try to tell us you're being positive. You're not.
Yeah, that's facts.
Mind you, Costa Rica has not
positive. Let's go for a draw. What?
Mind you, Costa Rica has not scored against Canada. They haven't played that many times, but has not scored against Canada since 2017 in about 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, I was gonna say I always find these stats kind of funny because this guy hasn't done this against his national team since 2017. How many times have they played? Twice.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 times. But still, it means something, right? Like you're
It's
going
5
up a
times, though,
team.
now.
It is 5 times,
Yeah.
yeah. And like
That's a
you're
lot.
you're
It's
going
not
up.
nothing. That's true.
It's not nothing, and you're going up against a team that like mentally your team hasn't scored against them in 5 years, right? Like that does a lot. Also for Canada,
Holy
this
crap.
team hasn't scored against us in 5
I was just
years.
thinking 3 years, honestly.
I
I was
know.
like, 2017, that's 3
2017
years.
is 5 years ago.
COVID happened and time stopped for all of us. That's pretty much how it felt.
Literally time stopped for 2.5
Oh, man.
years. All right, Rain, score prediction.
Yeah.
Costa Rica, Canada. Thursday.
I think Costa Rica's going to score. And like I said, 5 years is a lot of time to want to score on a team. But I am also going to be, I guess, if you call it pessimistic, I'll be optimistic, pessimistic, 2-1 Canada.
Okay.
2-1 Canada.
High scoring game with some of the best defensive teams in the.
That's
that'll
not
be
even that high
exciting.
scoring, though. 3 goals.
Yeah, I was gonna
That's
say
total.
2-1 is not a high
I
scoring.
mean, we got a
game.
0-0.
For
we
the
got a
CONCACAF qualifying,
Yeah, it
honestly,
is,
it
it
is.
is, it is.
In
It is.
Costa Rica, it is. But I respect it.
Yeah, 2-1. Thank you.
I definitely respect it.
Okay,
We'll see.
so overall, we're predicting Canada's going to pull a point out of that game. That's our general consensus.
Yeah.
Next
I
up,
guess if they draw, they still go undefeated, right?
Yep.
yeah,
We have
They
4
will.
draws.
They can
Yeah,
go
yeah,
under.
true. Should I go back to a draw, Owen? No.
No,
No, I'll
don't
stick with
doubt
my win.
yourself.
I'll
I
stick with
like
my
your
win.
guns,
2-1.
Don't doubt
Stick with
yourself.
And
your
if you're
guns.
right, you have the
That's
right to
true.
shove it in all
2-1?
of
That's true,
us
Okay.
that's true.
next
Yeah.
week.
Okay,
Samir gave me the right. Thank
the big one, Jamaica, Canada. Samir Murji, what's gonna happen when the Reggae Boys visit BMO Field?
They're gonna get slapped silly. I love the Reggae Boys. I know they're an exciting team to watch. There's a lot of young players on Jamaica. However, that is the game that Canada has had circled on their calendar for a long time now. It's at home. They didn't care where it was, in Vancouver, in Edmonton, in Toronto. It's finally decided in Toronto, but the whole time all they cared about was we can qualify either before that game or at that game. We're going to win that game. Fans are going to be at that game. Everyone's going to be at that game. The whole country's going to be watching that game. Canada's winning 3-0.
Wow, that was exactly my score prediction.
3-0.
I'm with you. I'm honestly not even going to change it. 3-0. We
Early,
got 2.
Yeah, early goal to solidify the intent. Goal before the end of the first half to make it 2-0. Dominate the second half. Late goal. Cyle Larin. 3-0.
I'm with you. 3-0, followed by absolute bedlam at BMO Field.
Yep. Oh, BMO Field, downtown Toronto is going to be on fire.
We've said it like 5 times, and I don't think it could be said enough.
No.
It is going to be insane. Insane.
Yep.
Rayn, score prediction for the Reggae Boys versus Canada at BMO Field.
I'll give you my score prediction, but I just want to say
That is what I ask.
I can't gamble. Like I said, I like to have my hands in my future and my future in my hands. So I'm going to be bringing my own patties to the game, FYI. And we can do a patty order for ourselves. I can't rely on the stadium having patties.
You just expose yourself to BMO Field security, by the way.
You
You
did.
have to sneak those in.
Really?
Yeah, buddy. It's
Oh.
MLSE. You think MLSE wants you to not pay money
Okay,
for
well,
their
I
food?
guess you have to tune into our TikTok to see if I snuck in patties to BMO
At
Field.
Canada Footy
It's either
TV
that or a
on TikTok.
$17.50 hot dog, but
No. I would pay $17.50
Honestly, we're doing
for
that.
a patty. Yeah,
I
we're
think
all
we should.
sneaking
It's kind of
patties.
jokes. We should try
No,
and
we're
sneak
doing-
patties in.
I'm
Yeah.
down.
Just for
And we'll
jokes.
just give it out to fans.
That'd be huge.
Yeah.
If
Hey, you
you
want a
are
patty?
going to the game and you want a patty, come find us outside the TFC end. We'll be just chilling there with patties. We might be. I mean, there's a chance we don't get
Don't-
these.
You should
don't
get
say it.
patties
That's
from,
a-
like,
I'm
that's a
bringing a
promise
box
you
of
can't
patties.
keep.
I promise you. I have tasty patties right across from the street.
so you
from
get
my
tasty
house.
patties, you get Warden patties, and we'll like get fans to rate them.
Yeah.
So
And we'll
Samir's
have
gonna
a
bring the
patty
tasty
off.
patties. Owen's gonna bring the Warden patties, and then we're gonna get there,
I'm
and
gonna
they're
bring
both
my
gonna get
taste
taken
buds,
away
baby.
before we get in, and that's gonna be really fun.
Anyway, score prediction.
Back to the game.
Jesus Christ, we got off the rails.
I applaud your 3-0. But I gotta be honest. You know who beat Jamaica 3-0? Panama. You know who beat Jamaica 3-0? Japan.
Wow.
You talked about Cyle Larin scoring a late goal.
throwing shots at Japan? Well, okay.
That's gonna be the 4-0 goal.
Wow. I was gonna say, are you throwing out a 4 or 5?
4-0.
Wow. I love it.
Thank you.
Poor
Uh-oh.
Jamaicans coming to Canada, coming to Canada, and all of us are like, nah, they're gonna get absolutely fucking slapped.
We'll have patties for them.
Yeah, and they're gonna be so pissed. They're gonna be like, they spanked us in soccer.
Give me
I
a
thought
shitty
they were nice,
patty.
and their patties are better. No, they're gonna say their patties are better. You're taking all the Jamaican people. Your patties are better. I'll be like, yo, you gotta try the curry goat.
Owen, score prediction for Jamaica.
I don't know how I can follow up that.
You could
but,
follow with a 3-0.
I'll go 3-1. 3-1.
Owen just wants us to get scored on. this break.
No, I'm trying.
I'm gonna be
I'm
super
sorry.
confident in Canada. 3-1.
I take
actually
pride
good,
in these predictions, but Jamaica won't have Michael Antonio. I think that's a big thing to mention. He will not be on international duty this time around, and he's a massive presence up for them up front, both literally and figuratively. But Jamaica still have some talent. Leon Bailey been balling out for Aston Villa lately. Still a decent side. But yeah, I see Canada, maybe Jamaica, either get like an early goal off a defensive mistake or they manage to get one at the end, but 3-1.
You know, Owen, I applaud your ability to step back from the situation and step away from the situation.
I applaud it. It's wrong,
yeah, I do.
but
I applaud it. Let your bias move aside, because honestly, when we're talking about this week in, week out, like we've been doing, or even when we were talking about the Arnold Clark Cup, you have been closer in the predictions than Ryan and I, because
I take pride in these.
no,
man.
it's fair, and because Ryan and I, we keep on letting our emotions and our excitement get a little bit into our predictions. I mean,
And Rayn is not helping that.
he
helping that
hypes
here,
us
like,
up even more.
at all.
Big
But-
enabler. Big enabler.
But you, Owen, like you always, like I applaud your ability to step back and be like, okay, this is what's wrong with the team, and this is realistically what's gonna happen. But no, we're not getting scored on again in Toronto. No, I'm not having any of that. Clean sheet. We're walking away with the win.
We have another game to give a score prediction for. 2-0 Canada against Panama. It's all over by then anyway. We're qualified. I hope we just put a good enough side to get the win. Anybody else got a Panama score prediction? You don't have to have one for this game. It is okay if you don't.
Panama. I mean, at that point, I think the boys are gonna be hungover.
Yeah.
And,
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
yeah, straight up.
Hungover for 3 days. That's facts. though.
Yeah,
That's
no,
real.
it
But it's
is
like,
facts.
but it's like that. It's like that figurative sports hangover when you've already done what you needed to do. You've clinched what you wanted to clinch, and I'm
Yep.
sure there's still that undefeated record trying to get into pot 3 on the line. But once
Man.
you reach that goal, these games don't necessarily look the same, and I feel
Not
like
at all.
that could definitely be a reality. I still think Canada will come away with 3 points.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it's like a close game, maybe
yeah.
a 1-0, 2-1, close
I
game.
think it's gonna be 2-1. Is that high scoring in your book? Sorry.
It can be again in the
2-1.
CONCACAF qualifying.
CONCACAF, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is kind of high scoring.
Isn't it weird?
I agree
though?
with 2-1 though.
2-1 kind of seems low scoring, but 3-0 seems relatively high scoring, and they're exactly the same.
you do make a great point there.
I just want to say, in regards to how the
Mind-blowing
game's
point
gonna go, 2-1 seems accurate. I mean, you say the boys are gonna be hungover, so they're at least gonna
Yeah,
try
for
and get
3
one.
straight days of
They're gonna get
slamming
one
beers.
goal. And then, like, obviously their defense is gonna slip, so Panama's gonna get a goal, but they need the 3 points, so it's gonna be another goal. 2-1.
Yeah,
Simple
fair,
math, right?
Fair. Simple maths. Yeah, quick maths. quick
Rain
maths.
already has the match mapped out. In
I
his
took
head
the
already.
Owen pill right there, and I gave a accurate score prediction.
I respected it.
Mind you, 4-0 against Jamaica is accurate.
Yeah, that's fair. I can live with that. And I was there for Canada's last game against Panama. That beautiful little Alphonso Davies steal off the sideline and smacking it near post.
The
and,
most spectacular goal in Canadian soccer history.
and I was,
actually, is what that is.
Yeah, and I was right there on that side. I thought it was out, but clearly wasn't.
We don't care what you thought, Owen. Alphonso Davies scored.
I'm just saying it was
Davies
spectacular.
scores, guys. I can just imagine Davies scores. The whole stadium's cheering, and Owen's
I
like,
was like,
"That
that's
was
out.
out."
That was out.
That's exactly my question.
Listen, I have to say, I was not the only person that thought that on that sideline, and I think a lot of people on TV thought that as well. But I think those were one of those games where Panama got out to an early lead, capitalized on a defensive mistake, had a lot of pressure, but Canada came into their own. And I think Canada's done that in a lot of games. And I think this could be another one. I'll make it 2-1 as well. 2-1.
All right. A nice little fist bump there, buddies. I like the camaraderie. Score prediction segment went a little off the rails, but we got there. We got through it. The last thing on the docket, projected lineups for Costa Rica.
I know who the goalkeeper is.
Oh, good. I'm really proud of you, Owen. That's excellent news. I
Thank
do as
you.
well. Mr. Pants, Milan Borjan, he is going to start in goal.
My guy.
All right. Here's where it gets a little interesting. What form of a back 3 or 4 are Canada going to play? Owen Hall, do you have any insight into this?
Yeah, I'm going to put Sam Adekugbe at left back. For me, that's...
Left back or left wing back? Are you going? Hold on.
I like a 4. I like a 4.
You like a 4? Okay.
Yeah, I like the 4.
Okay.
And then have Kamal Miller and Steven Vittoria as my center backs. I don't know if anyone's seen, but Vittoria scored a banger of a free kick in Portugal
yes, he
about
did.
That was
a couple
amazing.
months ago in stoppage time to win the game. I mean, like that's what I want from my center back.
This guy's
I want,
ice in his
I want
veins.
I want my center back hitting bangers of free kicks to win game. That's for me. That's absolutely ridiculous. Alistair Johnson has had a great qualification campaign so far. But for me, I'd like to get Richie Larea some playing time.
He needs
Actually,
it.
I don't know.
It's
don't know
tough.
about that.
I don't think we slot him in yet.
No.
This is where
No,
I'm
that's
having
tough.
this is where I'm having a problem as well.
Yeah.
The right back position because
We should do a squad.
A squad lineup.
Yeah, because I really don't know.
That's interesting.
I
But
probably
also-
would. Just for the defensive solidity, I probably would run Johnston there.
I mean,
it's tough though.
but the game against Jamaica, man, Richie Larea, as someone who's been watching TFC for quite a long time now, Richie Larea brings energy in those big games, and he's someone that you do not want to mess with by any means. He's there to defend his teammates.
Yep.
He's there to get stuck in the battles, and I think, especially for that game at BMO Field, his former club, he's been in that atmosphere before.
We're not talking about that game.
True.
Go one game
yeah,
earlier, buddy.
I'll go Alistair Johnson for that game against Costa Rica.
It would be really hard on Johnston to take him out of the 11.
I think so too.
Like it would be, he has not put a foot wrong.
Just like Jonathan Azario, right? Like it would be very hard to take him out with the form that he's been in for Canada. And I think based off of the qualifying period, like give them the rewards for the work that they've put in to get Canada to where they are, right?
Well, that's what we're on next now, the midfielders.
Yeah, well, to continue from our projected lineup that we're doing, I definitely agree with the defenders that you had mentioned, Owen. I know previously, before we actually got into this show, Ryan, you were talking to me about possible three-back lining up. And I initially disagreed with you.
You did.
I did. But looking more into it,
made me feel real smart.
And the way that they could set up with that three-back, it's possible, right? Like they have Adekugbe, Victoria, and Johnston. And then covered, they can have Osorio in the midfield. They could have Buchanan in the midfield, Hutchinson there, Hoylett there, who's been playing stellar as a wing back, right? Like we can have that. I think that should be your midfield that you're looking for.
So you're suggesting they go with a back five and
a back 3-5 hybrid. I mean,
yeah, okay. Well,
in today's game,
three,
it's the
I guess
same.
they are the same thing, really. A back three is a back five.
Yeah.
You just have your two wing backs playing a little bit more, playing advanced. It's the same thing. I'm gonna stick with Owen. I think they should go with the back four against Costa Rica. Maybe you might see Larea take that spot over Johnston, but I would be really, really surprised.
We've also seen both of them play at the same time too, in like a 4-4-2 variation with Larea playing that right mid role for a little bit more defensive solidity. I think for me, Richie Larea can play both those positions. I think you can interchange him with Tajon Buchanan. I think you can interchange him with Alistair Johnson as well. And again, that's also another great problem to have. But in terms of midfield, for me, I like the Eustaquio Osorio pivot.
Yeah,
I think that's probably our best pairing right now.
What do you think of a three midfield there, like a Eustaquio Osorio Hutchinson or Eustaquio Osorio Ismaël Koné?
For me,
Thank you.
For me, I would like to have numbers on the break. I think our best chances come from our ability to break, and so having guys like Tajon Buchanan, and I know Alphonso Davies won't be there, but when he does come back, and as well having someone like Junior Hoylett as well. I know you mentioned he can play wing back, but Junior Hoylett is someone who can also create off of those breaks as well.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's a little bit more important to have those numbers out wide and create those breaks. And I think those create more quality chances than we would maybe having a three-man midfield, but. In terms of defensive, and I mean, this is something that John Herdman can change mid-game as well, and
it's true.
We've seen him change it even ever since that game against the U.S. in Nashville. We equalized. We made that adjustment before we equalized, and it paid dividends, pretty soon. So again, this team is extremely.
Deep in midfield, I think, is the words you possibly are looking for here.
Yeah, and it's exactly what we talked about before. And you mentioned Hoylett's like stellar play and his creativity that he brings. He really impressed in this last window. I mean, every chance that he had, he was one of the most dangerous guys on the pitch going forward. So I think having that in Costa Rica will be huge, right? I do think he deserves a shout out for at least starting that game, maybe not starting the other two games, but at least starting that game in Costa Rica, because he can provide something that other players may not bring in a like scary environment that is Costa Rica. Okay,
so I've officially made my sort of thoughts here. I think that I would prefer the back four, not the back five, just because I think it's important to get Cyle Larin, Jonathan David, and Tajon Buchanan up there together at the top. Rayn, what do you think?
Well, Samir mentioned my guy, Ismaël Koné, and I just think that it's important to start him in Costa Rica.
Spent a lot of time hyping him up.
Yeah, and if we're saying like Jamaica is the most important game of the trio, I think that's fair to say. It's fair to play Koné in Costa Rica to see how he's going to perform for Jamaica. I mean, if he performs well, play him Jamaica. If he doesn't, don't play him Jamaica. But I think this is the trial game. You have to start him.
It also, like, I agree with your thought process there, but it's also hard to throw him into his first game for the national team there.
That's a
Costa
really,
Rica,
really
you
tough
know what
game.
I mean? Like, it's really tough to do that, to ask a young player to do that.
He's been there
only
before,
so
though,
many.
no?
There are also only so many chances you have to do that, though.
You know, you're
Like,
right.
Canada have.
I feel like you're on Rayn's. You're on Rayn's
I'm kind
side
of with
there.
Rayn. Like, I
Yeah.
can't lie. I would like to see Koné play.
Oh, I'd
He's
like
the most informed Canadian right now.
No, for me-
Don't get me wrong. He's gonna get. Like, I want to see a cameo. He has to get his debut there because, as you mentioned, that Jamaica game could be a game where he starts, right? Where he's at home in Canada, like a comfortable stadium for him to play in, where he could start his game. I do want to see a cameo from him. Don't get me wrong. I want to see him play, but I feel like putting him in the starting position in a game where, theoretically, we're not qualified yet.
Yeah, for me,
it's a big ask.
You can't.
Okay, that's fair. So how many minutes are you expecting out of him then?
Like a 25-minute cameo, maybe a little longer.
I think for me, that Panama game has his name written all
Yeah.
over it. For me, and I mean, I
That's
would
fair.
much rather him get out there, have him play 60 minutes, rather than putting him in for 20 at the end of the game, where a result is still relatively crucial, both in terms of the qualification process and the morale of his team. I would hate to put him out there in like a 1-0 or 2-0 situation, and we end up blowing a lead, or not coming out with a point. I think that would do worse for his morale rather than getting him out there just for the sake of getting him out there. And for me, like that Panama game should be the game where Herdman should be preparing him for, and the one that Koné should be eyeing at this point in time.
He'll need to play at
probably
least
right.
2 games though. So whether it's
Not
25 minutes,
necessarily.
I think
so.
he'll need to. I think he will. I don't necessarily know if he needs to, but I think he will get into
And
2 games.
remember-
I think he'll get a cameo, 20 minutes plus in one game, and he will start one of them. It is going to be. It's underratedly important for Herdman to make every player he brings into this squad right now, especially one he would actually like to keep in around, and one who will get a call up for Ivory Coast. I think it's important to show him how important he can be.
Yeah, that's a very good
That
point.
is not a small thing.
No, that's a very good point.
Convincing this guy, giving him that home start against Jamaica, could be what makes him make that decision to stay with Canada.
And Ivory Coast isn't like a bum team.
No, not
that,
at all.
like,
That's a serious country.
Yeah, that
They
a player would
qualify.
not want to join, right? Like they're a good African team. They compete in the AFCON year in, year out, really. I agree with you there, where he needs to be shown look, you can be a main part of this team. This team is going to the World Cup. This team has a bright future. Like, this is not the pinnacle prime of this Canada team. It's not.
For me, John Herdman is one of those guys that he cannot play him and still give him that confidence that you will
Fair.
still be here in the future.
I like
think you give him maybe 60 minutes against Panama, and don't forget, there's still another window
Yep.
after this. We still have another window after this where potentially we will have already qualified, fingers crossed. And, that's where he'll get, his main minutes. And, for me, that's a sign of a good manager is, putting in belief in your players that, this is not your time right now. This is not your place right now, but you are in my plans and I want to watch you develop. And I think that is the situation going right now in the Canada camp.
Huge. Like, him even selecting him for this break was just speaking levels,
That's
right?
bigger than anything.
It's bigger than anything. It's like a crucial break for Canada, and he's bringing this kid in, who he's hyping up so much, and who has never played for Canada before. He's not only bringing him in, but it goes to show him that, hey, look, I have plans for you to possibly I want you to be part of the team in World Cup. That's literally what that is. Him calling him up to this break is saying, I want you to impress us so much and play so well and live up to your potential and get this experience so that you could be a squad player. Maybe you won't touch the pitch. Maybe you will have some cameos in the World Cup, depending on how you are. Regardless, you're coming to Qatar. That is massive to a 20-year-old, a 19-year-old. Getting that in your head, being the guy, the next guy for this team, is huge. And I think embedding that in him, in his mentality, we could have a potential star who represents the flag, like how Alphonso Davies represents Canada, how Jonathan David represents Canada. Everywhere they go, everywhere they play. When Alphonso won the Champions League, what was he wearing on his shoulders? The Canadian flag. So we could have another guy like that representing us around the world.
Okay, so I'm just going to sort of go through our entire 11 so far where we're at. We have 4 at the back. Adekugbe, Miller, Victoria, and then either Richie Larin or Alistair Johnson. I'm going to give them both the start because I can't decide. We can't decide. Next, we have our midfield trio. Or it's going to be a midfield 4. Anybody with any thoughts here? Because I say we have already decided on Eustaquio Osorio. We all want Tajon Buchanan to start, if I'm not mistaken. Anybody object to that?
You throw Hoylett on the left.
Yeah, maybe a little cheeky 4-4-2. You know, you are English after all. That's your
Yep.
I'm always
bread
in
and
for
butter.
a cheeky 4-4-2. You know me.
that's your
I could totally see that lineup.
Yeah,
that,
or
I like
Costa
that.
I
Rica.
think what could be really interesting is that if you can't decide between Alistair Johnson and Richie Larin, put Alistair Johnson at right back, Richie Larin as a right midfielder, move Tajon Buchanan onto the left to allow him to cut inside, and you have Osorio Eustaquio in the middle, and Larin and David up front.
And we still keep our solidity against
Yep.
a Costa Rica side in an away game. I really love that idea.
I am with you. I'm actually sold. Owen the tactician.
I-
Owen needs to be
Either
John
that,
Desmond's
or we
assistant.
throw Hoylett on and screw Richie Larin. Keep him on the bench for now.
I like Richie.
Wait,
Unfortunately.
excuse me. We have just spent
Richie
a
was
lot of
already
time
starting,
defending
bro.
Richie
I love
Larin
Richie
on this
Larin.
show.
Okay, I'm sorry that I worded it that way. I know it came out
Screw
wrong way.
Richie Larin.
Before this first game. It is a tough game, and Johnson deserves it.
All right. So our starting 11 is set. We've made decisions. We've made score predictions. We've told you how fucking excited we all are.
It's the first time we've swore all podcasts.
That is
by the
not
way.
true.
Yeah,
I
that
have
is- that
dropped
is
2
not
other
true at all.
F-bombs. You weren't paying attention. Fuck you.
It's not even remote.
That's 4. Sorry for saying fuck you, Rain. I love you. I'm going to just now give you guys a little...
He
No,
hasn't
I
he's not
honestly
saying it
thought
like
we've been behaving today.
Oh,
We
there's
have
been
been.
no...
No, no.
You guys might have been behaving. I have not been behaving. I have been dropping F-bombs all over the show.
Oh.
But not like he's been doing it subtly, kind of.
That was
Taste-
not subtle,
taste-
man.
No,
No,
I-
he says it like
Before.
that.
Up until now,
but,
I've had tasteful F-bombs. So
Yeah.
that's
That was
I'm learning.
mean.
I'm learning. I'm really, really sorry, man. I'll give you a hug after the show. So just so you guys know, you do need to know what we're going to be doing over the next week. We are going to be filming outside and inside the Elephant and Castle bar for Costa Rica, Canada. That game is Thursday at 10:05 p.m. We will be there. We will have a Canada Footy TV sign so you will be able to tell who we are. Next, we will be on location at BMO Field. We will film pre-match. We will film post-match. We will film anything that they will let us film. And we will bring it all to you. And then we will do it all again at the Elephant and Castle for Panama. That's it. There's lots of content coming. We're going to do everything that you could possibly dream of. Maybe not, but we're going to do a lot of things.
And we're definitely giving out patties at BMO Field.
Honestly, if there's nothing that we're doing that you're not dreaming of, let us know. If there's anything that's in your dreams that we're not doing, let us know because we would love that.
anything
we'll
Canada
do
Footy
anything.
related you want to
anything,
see.
just anything Canada Footy related.
Yeah.
I had to make that clear.
I was gonna say.
that very, very clear.
I had to make that clear before you continue.
Rain is here to fulfill all of Ryan's dreams.
Yeah,
Anything Canada Footy TV related, any content you want to see, any conversation you want to see, any interview you want to see, anyone you want to see, you can ask and we can try our best to get that done. But I'm telling you, we will provide everything needed for a Canadian fans' experience for this upcoming World Cup.
because you should all experience what we are about to experience because it's going to be special. It's potentially once in a lifetime, and there is not much better than watching your country compete on the fucking biggest stage in the world. Guys, I'm so excited. Keep your eyes peeled on our YouTube channel, on Canada Footy TV, on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok. We'll have shorts going up on YouTube. We'll have videos for you. Rayn Rashid, do you have something to say to us before we head out, buddy?
No, I was just gonna say, actually, once we head out, let's go get some patties, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Who's down for some patties? Are we down for some
I'm,
patties?
I'm actually down for some patties. I could use a 1:40 a.m.
I could
patty.
use some patties right now as well.
Good show, guys. Good show.
Good shows. Okay, just before I say goodbye, it's important to talk about your mental health, guys. I've had a hard time the last week. I'm not shy talking about it. My buddies, these guys have all been there for me. If you are struggling, talk to someone. Someone is very, 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 very likely to want to help you. And at least be a listening ear.
Everyone has someone, man. Everyone has someone.
And if you don't, talk to us. Reach out to us. We're here.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, like, we are here. You can reach out to any of us on our individual socials. You can reach out to us on Canada Footy TV. There is a lot of excitement going around, but that does not mean mental health takes a backseat.
Of course.
And so on that note, for Ryan May, Owen Hall, Rayn Rashid, Samir Murji, get fucking hyped because Canada are going to be in the World Cup, boys.